Hey Yins, how are you all doing? I hope you're all doing well. I'm back. I know, it's been a long time since I filmed a video. I think September was the last time I filmed a video. I think it was in September. It might have been August, but I think it was September. And lots of things have changed. My atmosphere has changed. If you haven't been following me on Instagram, you can go follow me on @ginger.gerald.com on Instagram. I bought a house. As you can see, I'm in my new dining room, and Henry has a new locale. And the end of September, actually it was the beginning of October, I moved into my new home, a single family home, roughly 2 miles from where I was living previously. And it just kind of happened. I wasn't looking for a house over the summer. And then I got my letter saying how much my rent was going up. And then it spurred me to start looking, and the next thing I knew, I was in contract for a new home. So I am now a homeowner, and it all happened very quickly, well, except for the closing part. And now I live in a single family home that I'm very happy with, and I'm very much settling into my new space. So as you can see, Henry has a space. The rest of my walls are still kind of bare. I'm getting used to where I'm wanting to have everything. I do have, and I'm going to move the camera, I do have my deer on the wall. I have a room for all of my plants, which is my sun porch, which the plants are still kind of getting used to having a space. Well, I mean, they've always had a space. I'm getting used to the conditions for the plants. Some of them are doing all right. Most of them are not. And that's partially because the conditions, the temperatures, and the lighting are very different than the house because that space is not heated. So while they are doing fine, they can tolerate the temperatures. My human conditions, such as watering, has to change, and I'm not used to all of that yet. However, as you can see, I have 3 Thanksgiving cacti up here that are now in bloom. 2 of them are yellow cactus, and 1 is a peach cactus that I got from Textilis, which is right here, that are in bloom. My white cactus that you kind of saw whenever we moved is now actually kind of, I think, slightly past peak. Some of the blooms are starting to turn, others are opening up, and it is now in full bloom. And my massive red one that is out on the porch still because it's too big to put anywhere. I will probably move it here to the dining room table once it opens up to full bloom. I have a dining room table, which I didn't have in the apartment. I did years ago, but I got rid of it. A very big dining room table. So the red one is in full bud now. So lots of things have changed. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't made a video in a very long time. I do have some things to show you. I have been pretty fairly monogamous in my stitching, as you will see. And that's going to stay the same for a while. But I do have some fully finished items. I have a couple finishes. I have 1 finish. And I have some knitting to show you as well. So let's go ahead and show you my knitting first because it's sitting right in front of me, and then we'll move on from there. So I do have 1 fully finished item in knitting so a couple weeks ago I had to go back to Western Pennsylvania for a a funeral of a friend's funeral, and so I didn't have to drive. First time in a long time I didn't have to drive for a long distance travel, so I took knitting. I don't typically stitch in the car, so I went ahead and took some knitting projects. Prior to that, I wasn't really knitting much. I was primarily just stitching. For a while, I didn't do any crafting at all, and that's because of everything that was happening with the house. So I pulled out my bags of what I had on the go. I really wanted to just knock some stuff out. And so I had this Sesha scarf that I started last October when I went traveling to Western Pennsylvania. This is the second one of the Sesha. I already fully finished one of these and I had started a second one. This is a free pattern that you can find on Ravelry. And so I went ahead and finished the scarf while I was traveling. I think I had maybe a quarter of this done and I went ahead and fully finished it. So this is using Knit Picks palette yarn. I forget the color. I've had it for years. That's the other thing I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to use up all the yarns that I've had sitting around in my house and my apartment for years and years and years, in boxes that I haven't touched. And I have a lot. So I'm just trying to find patterns that I can, as we'll talk later for another piece that I started, that I can use with the yarns that I have. So let's see, what side's the front, what side's the back. I don't think it matters, but here is the scarf. So Sesha in palette, some kind of fir forest green type thing. And it's just a nice, decent length scarf that you can put around your neck, and, you know, decorative scarf. Probably will be a gift for someone at some point, but it's a nice piece that I can gift off and give away. So that is the Sesha finish. Next up, I have a partial finish and a new partial start. So I went ahead and on that same trip, I went ahead and started a pair of socks for myself. This is in some sock yarns, some solid sock yarns that I started, or that I bought a couple years ago now. And I went ahead, and this is my own pattern-ish kind of thing, just using all the yarn or knowledge from sock making that I've garnered over the years. And so this is a brown and yellow striped sock that I made. So I have one done, and yesterday I started the second one. So here's the first one. It's a 3x1 rib sock. So it's ribbed the whole way down to just give it a little bit of extra snug fitness or fit. It is a German short row heel. So I started at the cuff, worked down to the toe, and of course I bound off the toe. So again, just a very simple thing. I just did so it's a 2x2 cuff. I did a 3x, and then I switched over to a 3x1 ribbed leg and foot. And I carried that throughout, just a very basic sock. And then I threw in 2 stripes, just for some contrast. So it's a chocolate brown and a mustard yellow. I forget the exact names of the yarn. And this is from, I think it's the Huntington yarn from yarn.com. I think it's a 75-25 yarn. I don't have the exact name or the ball bands. And then here is, so There's the yellow. Here's what brown I have left because I need to go grab the other ball. And here is the second. I literally just finished the leg of the second sock. So I'm ready to go ahead and put in the heel. And that is the socks that I started. And the last thing in knitting is something that I started maybe last week. Again, I'm getting the yarn stuck in the zipper, which is not good. There we go. I, again, wanted to use up yarns that I've had laying around. And so my very first sweater that I knit years and years ago used Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in sport weight. And I have 10 colors of that yarn. So whole bunch of colors. If you've been following me for a long time, you've seen me wear it, you've seen me work on it. It's a yoke color work sweater. And so I decided to do a scarf using those colors. What will happen then is once I get to the top or to the end of the scarf, I'm going to, as I'm binding off, I will drop all the purl stitches and it will make a nice loose scarf that will be open, but like it still has a really nice texture to it. I got the inspiration from a pattern in a Knit Picks book that uses Aran weight yarns, but this is a sport weight. So I just increased the amount of stitches I had to use. So I did some math and increased the amount of stitches, and I'm just customizing it for myself to use up the yarn that I have. So again, this is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in sport weight. And I'm just customizing a scarf for myself. And so far I like it. And I'm just, basically what I'm doing is I have a whole bunch of this color yarn. So I'm using this as my main color, and then I am mixing it in throughout all of the other different colors, and I'm using each color until it runs out. And then this color I'm putting in individual stripes in between the different, every once in a while in between the different yarns. And hopefully I'm just kind of making it up as I go. And so far, I think it's looking pretty good. I've been working on this for about a week. So there we go. So that is my knitting to date. Let me just clean up because I have a bunch of stitching to talk about. I don't want to get this yarn caught in the zipper now. There we go. Okay, let's talk stitching. And I'm sorry if I'm shaking the camera. I'm not used to having everything on a table while we stitch or while we talk. So I have two fully finished items that I completely finished yesterday. One is a simple framed piece that I did. I stitched this maybe earlier in the year or the end of last year, and it is Gloriana. I believe it's called Gloriana. You can barely see the Gloriana, but it's, I like it. You can see it really well in person. And I just bought the frame from Hobby Lobby, and I popped that in there. There is a black box frame around the rest of the crowns and everything, but as I stretched it around the mat board, you can't really see it, but I think it worked out perfectly. So after the holidays, it will go up here with Henry. And then you're going to see a running theme here because we're talking about queens, about royalty. For a Christmas gift, I went ahead and I stitched this maybe last year. I think I stitched this as a Christmas gift for last year and I never finished it. And my finishing is less than desirable, but I'm glad I did it because then I can. It's getting me back into the finishing routine. This is the Queen Elizabeth stamp from Fiddlesticks AU, and I did customization because I changed the colors, and instead of the first for first class stamp, I put a 2 because Queen Elizabeth was the second queen instead of a first. I didn't want first class. I wanted the 2 for the second. So, and then what I did was I took a 4x4 painter's canvas and I stretched the fabric around that, and then I put some I glued some regular quilter's fabric on the back of that, and then I just glued some XU Designs mini pom-pom trim that I had that matched around the outside. Not perfect, but my friend who is getting this will appreciate it just as much. And then at Hobby Lobby, they have these mini canvas easels, and it fits perfectly right on there. So that is my second fully finished item. All right, I have one finished cross stitch piece, and I think if you've been following me, you'll know that this is no surprise. I finished the By the Bay Needlework Home Sweet Home Sal that I started last November. I finished this in I believe October, maybe I finished this at the beginning of November. And so this is stitched on 40 count autumn linen by Fiberlicious Yummy Fiber Co. And so here is the fully finished design. And so I will come in closer to show you the entire thing. But there it is. Let's turn that. There we go. Here is November, December. So I started last November, and then we got one block a month. So the original pattern called for a tan or off-white fabric. I forget exactly what color it was. I wanted to change mine up because I wanted it to be a more rustic autumn tonal to go with my decor, and I'm very pleased with how it looked. So I used the code for DMC, except for where the colors would have clashed with the fabrics, and that was primarily in either the grasses, such as down here, where it might have not blended in well with it would have blended in too much with the background, or the houses. And otherwise, I think it turned out splendidly. So that is By the Bay Needle Art, By the Bay Needleworks, By by the bay, home sweet home Sal. Now, the next one, I'm not sure if I stitched on this since I filmed last or not, so I figured I would just pull it out and show again, just in case. I don't remember if I did any more on this or not. And this is the Teresa Wentzler Millennium kit that I bought on eBay quite a few years ago. I'm not sure if the pattern is available on, I think you can still buy the pattern, you just can't get the kit. So I'm using the kit fabric and flosses, and I'm still working in the center motif currently on the planets. And if I did anything, it was that I stitched this. But I don't remember if I showed that or not. So all I have left to do is Earth and the Moon, which is going to take forever because it's all 1/1 on 28 count. But I'll get it done. I am in no hurry to finish this. So this is 28 count. I believe it's Murano. It's like a mushroom Murano. So I have all the planets done except for Earth and the Moon. And that's my progress on that. The other project that I've been working on, now, to be honest, I have not worked on anything other than the last project I'm going to show you for the last probably month and a half or two, maybe 2 months. But this piece, I think I might have put a few stitches in this since the last time I filmed. And this is La Foresta di Fans by Renato Perlin. And this is on a 46. Is it 46 or 50? This might be a 50, a 56. Do I have the tag? No. And I know it's an XG Designs fabric, and it's, I think this is a 50 something, 56? Pretty sure it's 56, and I forget the color name, but it's like a peachy, orangey, melon color, tangerine-y color. And I'm using DMC, and if I did anything, it was that tree there since I last showed it. Maybe more. I don't remember, and I forgot to look back because it's been that long. So everything on the left side, everything on the left side to the center is done, and now I'm working from the center to the right side of the design. So I'm over halfway done with this project. I think this tree here is the center of the design, and now I'm working to the right. And so that is La Foresta de Fans. And I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. Last up is the piece that I'm giving full focus to until it is complete. And I say that, but I might go back to the Renato Parolin if I do truly get a little bit burned out, just to give myself some flexibility and variability. And this is my Thea Governor London. I've been working on this since 2000, I believe 17, maybe, yeah, I think 17. And so it needs to be finished. So I have everything from St. Paul's Cathedral and the tree and Parliament all the way over completely done. I'm not going to be able to show you all that today, but I will put a picture in here of everything from the center over to the right done, because it's still in the Q-snap. And here is what it looks like on black, because that is what I'm stitching. And here is where I'm currently at in the Q-snap. So currently what I'm working on is I am working on Tower Bridge, which I have this is all done. The tower, London Tower, everything but the roofs of the tower parts need to be finished. And now I'm starting to work on the Elizabeth Tower, what is commonly known as Big Ben. But it's not Big Ben, it's the Elizabeth Tower. So I now have to start working on that to come up this way. I will have to move the Q-snap once I get this part section in here done, and then I will move the Q-snap. That's why I don't want to move the Q-snap yet, because I have the fabric really well, nicely in here. There's the back. And so it's a lot of fabric. So there we go. And I'm doing all the back stitch, which the back stitch is very subtle on this project, but I'm doing it as I go. So there's still a little bit of back stitch left in here. Parliament still needs to have back stitch done, but all of the back stitch in the tower and the bridge, this part of the bridge is all done. So all I have left to do is Parliament's back stitch whenever I do the roof here. And there's a little bit left in St. Paul's that still needs to be done after I get Elizabeth Tower in. And that is all I have to show you. And because I'm super focused on getting some of all of these things done that I have lingering around, I have not been buying anything, so I have nothing to show you. And that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be back when I am back. I have no plans on when I will be back again. I hope you're enjoying your holidays, whatever you celebrate, and your winter or summer, if you're in the southern hemisphere. Enjoy the holidays regardless of where you're at. And as always, don't forget to always be creative.